Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Geek Plan. I'm Jeff, and welcome to another episode of the Orville Quantum Dive. This time, it's season 1, episode 8, Into the Fold. We just watched this one, and before I give my first thoughts, I'll give it to you, Greg. What were your thoughts when the episode was over? What were your initial thoughts?
It was kind of a very mediocre episode. There really not a whole lot of terrible things into it. I will say that I found the kids annoying, but it was a good episode to kind of get into Isaac's head a little bit. It was a good character building episode for Isaac, but other than that, it was very bland, very generic, very kind of cliche plot. I've seen this plot before a number of times in previous iterations of Star Trek. It was just kind of blah.
Yeah, I will agree with that. It was very plain, bland. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. I know it's centered around Dr. Finn, her two sons, and Isaac, and I did enjoy the Isaac stuff quite a bit. Glad we got to see more of him. He's one of my favorite characters on the show. But her two kids were annoying to me, and their whole beginning where they just were fighting back and forth. I literally wanted to turn the episode off. I was like, this better not happen the whole time. But it was just very plain. I mean, they land on an unknown planet, kind of thing. It's the same thing we've seen in a lot of other shows. But yeah, it was just super boring.
It was very predictable to me. I was calling it while we were watching the episode. I'm like, oh, the mother's going to get separated, and it's going to be an Isaac having to deal with the kids. And then, sure enough, shuttle splits in half, and she's on one side of it, the crash site, and they're way at a different crash site. So then, yeah, Isaac has to then deal with the kids.
Yeah. So basically, what this episode is Isaac is piloting a shuttle with Dr. Finn and her two bickering idiot kids in the back, and they're going to some planet. It's like some Disney World planet, I guess. The one older kid doesn't want to go. The shuttle gets knocked off course and thrown into unknown space, and they land on a planet, and the ship breaks in half basically on entry, and Dr. Finn is separated from Isaac and the two kids, and then we get the indigenous species that are sick, and they're kidnapping them all, and it's just really weird. And I mean, we really didn't even get to understand anything about this indigenous tribe. They just kind of introduce them really quickly, tell you a few things, and that's it.
They were very generic, kind of zombie apocalypse kind of characters. There's the one zombie survivor guy that ends up kidnapping the doctor and taking her back and locking her in his creepy cell thing I don't know what his intentions were. I suspect what his intentions were, but didn't really go into it.
Yeah.
And the other people there, they fell prey to some poison that's in the water and the atmosphere or the plants or whatever, and they're basically kind of mindless zombies. That's about it. The stuff with Isaac and the kids, it was very much like Jurassic Park almost, with that doctor who was uncomfortable with kids. It was Jurassic Park's plot with the doctor and the two kids when, after the T-Rex attacked them. Spoiler alerts for Jurassic Park.
It was.
For some reason I haven't seen that.
That's a good way to describe it.
But it was very much just that, and he had to kind of find a way to relate to them, and of course the bickering kids found a way to relate to each other, and then they understood because they missed their mommy. They had to, they realized that they were being dicks to their mom, particularly the older brother. It's just, like I said, just very cliche.
It was, you're right, it was. For you bringing up the Jurassic Park thing, I was like, man, because I was thinking during the episode, where have I seen this in a very popular film? And boom, you pull it right up. It's Jurassic Park. That's what it was. I really don't have a lot to say about the episode. That's the biggest thing. It's just really generic. So there's really not much to talk about, unfortunately, with this one.
No,
I mean, I say one thing though. The intro, if you didn't know, it's the the younger son calling out to his mom, and she's in bed trying to sleep, and it's a reference to a Family Guy episode where Stewie does the same thing to Lois. It's like, mom, mommy, mom, mom, mommy, mom. And I'm like, okay, we know you're Seth MacFarlane. You don't have to do a Family Guy bit in your show that's not Family Guy.
Yeah, this episode is actually pretty light on the comedy stuff, but for the most part, when they did it, it was actually pretty good stuff. And a good example of how kind of bland this episode was overall. I can't even tell you the exact moments. I kind of forgot them.
Yeah, you're right. There wasn't a lot of humor. The only thing I think that really stuck out that we both laughed at was the glory hole bit back on the ship.
Oh yes, that's it. Yeah.
It was a very serious toned episode. The emotional thing at the end worked with Isaac, her and Isaac at the very, very end. Her saying, you're welcome to the family kind of thing. Yeah, that was a nice moment. But other than that, to be honest, I really don't have a lot more to say about this one.
No, there's not much to say. Like I said, it's just kind of a, it was a right episode. I wouldn't say it was bad or anything. It was just, it wasn't great. It was just kind of meh.
Yeah, it's like I don't love it, but I don't hate it. It's like in the middle.
Yeah,
But
it passed.
Yeah, and it didn't turn me off the show. Like this is not going to episode and be like, oh crap, I really hated this one. I don't want to watch it anymore. You know, we've had a couple episodes in the first few episodes where we really didn't like them. We're like, oh, it's gonna be a struggle to watch this again. This didn't do that. This is just like, yeah, okay, let's move on to the next kind of thing. That's all it was.
Yeah, exactly that. It wasn't enough. It wouldn't tune me out of the show. It doesn't make me like down on the show in any way. It was just kind of, he keeps saying it, but it meh.
It was meh. Yeah, it was very average, very generic, very plain. But yeah, I think that's all we really have to say about this. At least I do. Do you have anything else you want to say, Greg, or is that it for this episode?
No, I'll say it again. Meh.
Meh. Yeah. But that is our quantum dive for this week for season 1, episode 8, Into the Fold. We'll be doing these every Friday from now. We're going to do them on Thursday, and I thought Friday felt better, so we're going to put them out on Friday, like late afternoons when the episodes will be out on the channel. Also, me and Greg are probably going to start either this week or next week watching Star Trek, the original series on my Twitch channel, or twitch.tv/thegeekblend, and we'll be doing it over there. We might even have started by the time you watch this. We don't know. But it's just going to be whenever we get a chance to do them, we're going to jump on. But if you follow me on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, I'll try to post when we're going to do that. So it's not really going to be scheduled. We're just going to kind of do it when we can do it, when we have time. So look out for that as well. I'm kind of excited for that. We already watched one episode, and now I'm looking forward to watching the next one. But we will be back next week for another episode of the Quantum Dive for the Orville. Thanks again, Greg, for joining me. I appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next week. I'm Jeff. And this is Greg, and this is the Geek Blend. And if you geek about it, we speak about it. You guys have a great one. See you next video.